I've always really loved fakemon. The concept that I could just make my own little guy was an alluring one, so 6 years ago, how has it been that long? That's disgusting. I thought I'd try my own hand at making some little dudes of my own. The little dudes in question were 3 starters: Miskit, Bunfire, before you'd say anything, this was before Score Bunny existed, and Ribeak. Look, this was basically right at the beginning of my journey as an artist, and I did my very best. So I'm not gonna kick my younger self for her lack of experience too much. Look, I love these guys, they're special to me, but I can definitely do better now. I love you, but you make me cringe. It's a complicated feeling. So today I'm going to attempt to give them a long overdue glow up. But first, your girl requires coinage for sustenance, so big thanks to our sponsor, Go, a free open-world survival crafting game full of funky, legally distinct monsters. Gonna tell my kids this was Pal World. These guys are called Mirais. We've got some spectacular specimens here. There's Trippy, Glitter. Okay, no, I would do anything for Dwack. I love him. There are over 100 unique Mirais just waiting to be discovered. Once you've gathered up a bunch, it's time to put your new buddies to work. They'll build your base, gather food. These guys are bringing in that bread for both game me and real me. You play on servers with other people and you can invite your friends or even join a guild. I made one if you want to join it using this code. And here's another code that you can use to get some free goodies in game. Right now there's even a Halloween season running, Abyss Souls, featuring Pumpkin Man. The new update has new areas, new Mirais, new outfits, and even a new PvP system so you can battle it out against other players. You can check out my link down below to download the game for free on mobile and PC. Big thanks to Go for sponsoring the vid. So back to my little guys. We got some redesigning to do. Let's start with the grass starter. So Miskit is very loosely based on a red squirrel. My whole theme was starters inspired by British wildlife. Again, this is before Gala was a thing, but hey, if we're splitting hairs, I was kind of more faithful to the theme with my designs because the UK doesn't have any monkey. Miskit's name is from mischief, misfit, and kitten because baby squirrels are called kittens. Unbeknownst to me at the time, there's already a character from a graphic novel series called Amulet that's called Miskit, so I guess oops, sorry for the accidental plagiarism 6 years ago. Where do we start with this creature? I don't know what's going on with his face. I think I was trying to give him chubby cheeks, but I did not know how to do that, so there's just this line that's cutting into his face. I remember I was super focused on trying to make it Ken Sugimori-like, but I am not Ken Sugimori, and I like messing around with colors in ways that style wouldn't really allow me to do, so I'm not trying to make it look like official Pokemon art this time or anything. I really don't like these bits of fluff under the ear. It kind of reminds me of Bidoof and not in a good way. Maybe it's because they're just really out of line in this ancient drawing, so it bothers me, but I wanted to change it. A remarkable new addition. A nose. Yeah, Miskit 1.0 just didn't have a nose. Now he does. I stared at my tablet for about 10 minutes trying to figure out what the hecky to do with his tail. I already like the shape of it kind of looks a bit like a lily pad. I had already slightly changed the shape of his ears, but other than that, the guy basically looks the same. And then it hit me. Leaf. Go upside down. Cape. Cape! It fits way better with the concept too, because Miskit is a little hooligan, so with a cape he looks even sneakier. I also added a couple little leaves under his chin to sort of act like a cape tie. I have no idea where I'd end up going with it if I ended up giving it evolutions, but tentatively I like the idea that he can actually use the cape to fly. Poorly, but he still tries. Now, I actually did make shinies for these fakemon. For unknown reasons, I made an entire video dedicated to the shiny forms. 2018 CandyEvie was really trying to stretch that content as far as possible. Gotta get that sweet 3-minute ad revenue. Miskit Shiny was a cool mix of maroon and purple, just a further reference to the red squirrel. It's also kinda neat because the term purple squirrel is also employment terminology for an unreasonably qualified candidate. You know, job applications that are like, yeah, we're looking for a fresh face. Maybe 20 to 25 years old, 10 years of experience, fluency in Latin would be a plus, proficiency in Cockney rhyming slang, oh, and can't forget a personal letter of recommendation from King Charles II. The second? Well, that's not... Did I stutter? A list of qualifications that might as well be as rare as a purple squirrel, or a shiny. I was really not the best at color picking because the colors kind of melt into each other when you squint. If I make this monochrome, it's basically the same shade of grey. But new and improved Lucy knows color theory and value. Sort of. It's hard, okay? But it's definitely an improvement. Having values that contrast more do help the colors pop. Its species is the collecting Pokemon because its lore is that it's just an absolute little menace and it steals stuff to squirrel it away in its little tree hideout. I never actually made Pokedex entries for these guys, so here's one. Keep a close eye on your belongings when a Miskit is nearby. It is always hoping to add new treasures to its collection. It is always watching. Here's the before and after. He's not profoundly different, but he looks significantly less in pain now. Results. Next up is Bunfire. I don't know if anyone remembers the whole fire starter zodiac theory, but I had a look at it and I was like, yeah, rabbit seems quite likely, I'll do that. Also, there's loads of rabbits in the UK. There was a roundabout where I used to live with loads of them on it, and every time I passed it, I'd be whispering in my head, please don't jump in the road, don't jump in the road, don't jump in the... But yeah, I was on the money because lo and behold, the next fire starter, rabbit. I liked Bunfire's name the best. The goal for making a Pokemon name is to just find 2 or 3 words that can sort of flow into each other. So Bunny, Bonfire, Bunfire. I'm not huge on this design because I feel like it kind of just looks like a fire Eevee. The ears are the worst offenders, so they had to change. Now they're just fire. I did keep the darker ends and made it more of a gradient. If it was a 3D model, I'd picture the ears sort of doing a slow flicker like the flames on Chandelier. I remember umming and ahhing about whether or not I wanted it to have eyebrows when I first made it. You can see in that old video that I kept them in the design pretty late on and then just removed them. Don't know why I decided not to because it's just superior. It really took him 6 years to grow eyebrows. I got rid of the whiskers because I felt like it was making the line work a little too cluttered, but I liked the idea of having some sort of trailing singed thing, so I adapted it into the eyes, and I love it. I think it adds a surprising amount to the silhouette. I did miss the whiskers a bit, so I did end up adding a couple of cute little flicks either side of its face as a compromise. The tail is more or less the same. I tried to make it look a little more smoky this time around. Onto the shiny. Bunfire shiny is this nice brown and orange combo. When I first made the starters, I got sent this amazing piece of fan art that had the colors for a potential shiny Bunfire, and I just fell in love with it. On the spot, I decided to make that the official shiny. Because I like chocolate orange. That is genuinely the reason. Again, I'm not really looking to change the general idea. I was just not great at color choices back then, so I feel like we can make it a little better. You really don't have to use the brightest, most saturated orange to get the point across. I look at it now and he's just screaming at me. I am orange! Did you know I am orange? If I pick a shade that's a little more chill, then I have much more room to pick interesting colors for shading and highlights. There are some general fundamentals for starters that I noticed when designing these. You really want to try and stick to a maximum of around 4 distinct colors. The starters are one of the most marketed parts of a new generation. Usually they get revealed before even the box art legendaries, so they need to be simple. Like these guys are gonna be on everything. Mugs, plushies, socks, keychains, Mackey's toys. They need to be optimized with that in mind. A true marketable plushie. I did feel that these old starters were maybe a little too simple, they needed a bit of extra flair, but it's also a balance because I don't want to overcomplicate it. I did kind of break my rule a little bit with Bunfire's ears and the little eyelash things. That's definitely more than 4 colors. But I don't feel like it really takes over the color scheme and it looks cool. Bunfire is the fire rabbit Pokemon because it is a fiery rabbit, and here is its new Pokedex entry. It loves to rest on its trainer's shoulders, so it makes the perfect neck warmer on a cold winter's day. I know, it's disgustingly sweet. I just wanted to be able to draw Bunfire being a neck warmer. Then I realized my character doesn't have a neck. Here is the before and after. I think he looks way better. The power of eyebrows. And the final dude is Ribeak. Ribeak. Ribeak is based on the Eurasian kingfisher, a staple entry in just about every wildlife book I owned growing up. Look at those colors! The work does itself really, I'm just plagiarizing from Mother Nature herself. I was a bit worried that the color scheme is a bit too similar to Mudkip's, but like, it's literally the kingfisher colors. I can't change nature. I mean I can, but then it wouldn't look like a kingfisher. Honestly, it's criminal that we didn't get some kind of kingfisher Pokemon. Don't get me wrong, I love loads of the Gallowdex, but I do think that there were quite a lot of missed opportunities to have more pokes inspired by actual British wildlife. There are some. Rookidee is based on a blue tit and is a top tier regional bird. And Stonehenge. I've been there! They should have consulted me personally for the Gala Pokedex. There's so much more potential. Kingfishers, cinnabar moths, foxgloves, parakeets. Did you know the UK has wild parakeets now? I fed them. I made some fakemon based on the peppered moth as well. The narrative potential was so good. It could have tied into the history of the Galarian Industrial Revolution, because in real life it has 2 variants because of pollution, and that's why I gave it 2 forms, and it was such a waste. Back to Ribeak. Ribeak was always my favorite of the bunch. I think it definitely looked the best considering my rather limited skill set at the time. And I did try, but I honestly couldn't find much that I wanted to change about it, so this one is definitely more of a glow-up than a redesign. When I designed him, I didn't want his head to be bare, so I gave him these massive flick things. I did try out a bunch of other shapes this time, but I wasn't really vibing with any of them much. I ended up rotating them a little away from each other, so now they stick out more, which I think is better for the silhouette. Ribeak's breast was always meant to have this sort of a teardrop shape, except I did not understand perspective at all, so it really ended up looking like this from the front. I remember in later drawings I just went with it like, yeah, I totally meant it to look like that. The eyes are basically the same, except I changed the highlight from a circle to a sort of straight line across the eye, which I think works better. I also put little orange flicks on its eye, which is sort of similar to what a real kingfisher would have. I then added a couple of stripes to the little things on top of its head. I can't decide whether it makes it look too cluttered or not, but I wanted to change something, okay? Again, I decided to keep the shiny more or less the same, just the main shade of cyan isn't quite so in your face now. And I very slightly tinted some colors like the beak and the breast because it was all kind of the same color before. It actually looks a lot like a cerulean kingfisher, which is a separate species native to Indonesia. Definitely knew this at the time. Absolutely intentional. I am truly an expert ornithologist. Ribeak's species is the diving bird Pokemon, and new Pokedex entry as follows. Ribeak is a skilled diver but has poor depth perception. It has been observed attempting dives into puddles on the ground. Ouch. I don't know why I didn't make entries for them before. Just being able to conjure that image in my mind adds so much depth to him. Depth that he regrettably cannot perceive. But yes, here is the before and after for Ribeak. Yeah, he really looks the same, doesn't he? Oh well, he learned how to do eyeliner and he is slaying. The 3 are complete now, and yeah, I'm pretty happy with him. Bunfire changed the most for sure, but it's wild how much changing tiny elements can totally alter the feel of a design. Like with Miskit, he's got the same leaf, but now it's a cape. It's 2 different Pokemon, astounding. I don't know if anyone even remembers these guys from when I first made them, but they really hold a special place to me. Barring scribbles I made when I was like 8, they were my first serious attempt at making fakemon. It kind of marks when I started implementing illustrative elements into my videos, and I honestly don't know if I would have taken the channel in that direction without that video. Yeah, they're kind of janky and rough around the edges, but it was this moment of, oh, I can actually make things? Me? I was sent so much fan art of these guys and it was all just very heartwarming and encouraging. We've done a lot of whack stuff on this channel, but in a cringy and sentimental way, making these dudes is one of my favorite moments. Hey, if you guys like this video, maybe I'll finally make evolutions for these guys. I'm pretty sure I also said that 6 years ago, but come on, look at Miskit. I was not capable of drawing cheeks in 2018, let alone evolutions. But either way, it's been fun to have a more creative type video on this channel again and to spend a little time with these old friends. I guess I'll see you in another 6 years when I once again hate how they look.